Now, apparently, there's the problem with Wuthering Waves.
What makes a boss fight truly memorable? When I sit back and think, what are the best boss fights I've ever tackled? The first one that comes to mind for me is Kratos versus Boulder. The reason being is because the cinematic experience you get from it is truly outstanding. The hype behind the fight was crazy. And then realizing that old man Kratos is a bit washed up and that he actually might get his butt whooped by a mysterious man?
I think one of the best fights I've ever had. I will admit, for gacha games, it's definitely the first fight in Wuthering Waves. That was a legendary fight. Like playing every gacha game for years and finally seeing the game where I finally feel like gacha games get it. They finally get what I want in a game. And that makes me f***ing hyped. But outside of a gacha game, I would probably say a really fun fight for me would be Old King Cole in Banjo-Tooie. That was fucking awesome. Gruntilda in Banjo-Kazooie, because she shit talks you the entire game, and then finally you get your hands on her and you beat the fucking shit out of her. Let's see what else. What's another really, really, really good fucking fight? It's gotta be Dark Souls 1, but which one in particular? I know I really enjoy the Glavenus fight in Monster Hunter World. And Dark Souls 1, what's a really oh yeah, probably the crocodile fight in the sewers in Dark Souls 1, where you follow these nasty ass sewers, you finally get to the bottom, and you get to the boss room, you enter it, and you think it's a joke because a little crocodile head pops up, and then a 1,000-foot demon is following behind that shit. And I feel like it's so good. Oh, or Millennia Blade of Mikola. That is a truly legendary fight. When you finally understand how to dodge the waterfowl dance, you feel like a god. Ooh, or Radon from Elden Ring. Oh my god. Radon. Oh man, that shit is insane. Especially when you learn the lore, how he was holding back the stars in the sky from falling down. Oh my god. Or P4G's final boss ending. Damn. Damn, damn, damn.
Cinematic masterpiece for real. Another one would be Isshin from Sekiro. Why? Because of the difficulty of the boss. The feeling you get after spending hours on top of hours dying over and over, and then you're finally able to beat the boss. That is a peak feeling. Another one would be Final Fantasy XIV Eden Shiva E8S. And the thing that makes it so memorable for me is the amazing music along with the
oh dude, or Garrosh Hellscream's fight in Warlords of Draenor. Or no, that's Mr. Pandaria. Yeah, Mr. Pandaria, Siege of Orgrimmar, when you fight Garrosh Hellscream at the end. Oh my god. What a good fucking fight. Especially when they added Mythic mode and then you get transported to fucking Stormwind and then you fight his mutated version. I love that fight so much.
Difficult boss fight mechanics. Now, that was a small sample size, but when we break it down, what makes a boss fight truly memorable, this is what we get. 1. Difficulty. A good boss fight should pose some type of significant challenge to the player.
Final thing. Fighting Mewtwo in Pokemon Red and Blue and trying to capture him. That shit was nuts.
2. Mechanics. This could also fall along the lines of difficulty, but I think a few unique boss fight mechanics can definitely enhance the player's overall experience. 3 would be music. Music is such a key component here because without music, some of your favorite boss fights just wouldn't hit the same. And 4, boss design. Something about a boss that's well designed plays such a huge role in impacting what makes a boss fight memorable. Now back to the main course of the video. Why some people don't like Wuthering Waves boss fights. Now just a note here, I'm simply going off of the first closed beta test gameplay and also any footage we've seen leading up to this point right now, with 0 leaks. After taking a deep dive of a few boss fights shown in the first closed beta test, here's what I've come up with. 1, the boss fights are simply way too easy. 2, not enough challenge on the parry window. They're blatantly obvious. A 4th grader can parry half the stuff in this game. 3, bosses need to move faster and be more aggressive. 4, overall boss designs need some cleaning up.
I did not have that experience whatsoever. Maybe this is the greatest Wuthering Waves player of all time, but when I fought the Wuthering Waves boss, I actually found it significantly challenging for the first several attempts, personally. Now, do I think that there are going to be people who are going to be able to beat Wuthering Waves content with level 1 characters? Oh, absolutely. Probably never getting hit as well. That's probably going to require an insane amount of practice. I felt like the difficulty was pretty damn good for the casual playthrough. Now, I think for events, they can make them harder, but I feel like it's casual enough to where the majority of players will be able to do it with a bit of practice.
But they are in the right direction. And lastly, 5, better theme songs behind some of these bosses. These are all things that if added into their game and or enhanced on, these will help make boss fights way more memorable and enjoyable within Wuthering Waves.
It is the hardest boss fight in a mobile game, a popular mobile game for sure.
With that being said, I have no reason to believe some of these won't be changed and updated for the second closed beta test, and even when it releases. But think, a game that's extremely focused on combat and being able to provide that hardcore side of gameplay to us, you would think that their boss fights would be generally better. But hey, Don't take this as hating. This is constructive criticism to overall help the final product of the game.
Yeah, I think it's
as
fine.
Someone who's truly excited to play the game and finally feel a challenge while playing gacha games, they're going to need to do a bit more work. Because if they're not able to deliver on these aspects and all my gacha characters start to feel like an OP Warframe running around through content left and right,
the problem is that they're going to have to balance it for mobile gamers. And I would love to know people's perception of these boss fights when they're doing it on mobile. Obviously, it's going to be easier when you play it on PC. It's going to be a lot more responsive. But I'm curious to think what the majority of the audience is going to play this on mobile, guys, whether you admit it or not. Mobile gaming is huge right now. It really depends on what you're using on your phone.
People won't stick around for long. Wuthering Waves should take some inspiration from Monster Hunter or some Souls-like games. It may be hard to implement within a gacha game setting, but if pulled off correctly, us fans will truly be in for a wild ride. I could just be in over my head, expecting too much, but who knows? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As always, I post daily Wuthering Waves content, so come sub and stick along for the journey.
I don't think any Wuthering Waves fight will ever be able to match a Dark Souls or Monster Hunter World, but I do think it does a pretty good job of giving you a casual experience of that, you know? And I think that's fine.
They'll have some extreme dead periods to go through before the game releases, and I'll be here to satisfy your Wuthering Waves needs. That's all I got for you today, you freaky frogs. Enjoy your night. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.
My most important thing is, does it feel good? And it does feel good, and it does feel satisfying. So for me, I'm personally pleased with it, but we'll see how I feel 1 month, 2 months, 3 months into the game. But as far as every new boss being implemented, I'm excited, as well as the new game mode, like the simulated universe like they have in the game so far that I've seen from closed beta footage. I think it does have a lot of potential, and I do think it's going to live up to that, just like PGR did, but that's just my opinion. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing.